I'd never done a TV show before. I'd only done stand-up. And I told everybody, I said, don't worry. I played Frederick in Pirates of Penzance when I was in 9th grade. Like, I've had some acting experience.
Yes, please. Back up. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Drew Carey Look Back Show. I'm Diedrich Bader. I played Oswald Lee Harvey on the show. This is Drew Carey.
I played Drew Carey.
He played Drew Carey. And Bruce Helford, who was the co-creator of the show.
I just played.
And we are sponsored by our friends here at Buzz Beer. Remember, if you're tired, Buzz Beer will help out. A special shout out to Karen in accounting at Buzz Beer Corporation. Hope your operation goes well.
Yeah. Are they really doing a Buzz Beer?
Buzz Beer, the Buzz Beer Corporation. That's who's paying for all this.
Is somebody really making a Buzz Beer now?
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. You didn't know? You didn't get any piece of it?
No. Because I wanted to, because I got offers to do a beer while the
you?
Drew Carey Show was on, but somebody said I couldn't.
It was Mr. Microphone. So I think we should get right into it.
Sure.
You guys, when did you meet?
It was on a show called Bruce got fired from the show, by the way.
Oh, no, before that.
Oh, that was Good Life.
Good Life.
Yeah. Right. So, man.
Was that a stand-up show?
No. It was my friend John Campanera.
Campanera, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
So I had already done the Drew Carey project. I got fired from that.
You got fired from the Drew
Carey project? It was a different kind
of show.
On
the first day of the LA riots.
Who did they hire after that?
Can't remember, but it was a presentation. It wasn't even a full sitcom presentation.
Yeah.
And I'd never done a show before, a sitcom before, and the creator of the show, which I didn't want to do.
Okay.
By the way.
Why didn't you want to do it?
Because I didn't like it.
I heard they made you wear a cowboy hat.
No, because I didn't like it, and they didn't. I didn't think the meeting went well even with the guy. Because I walked out of there going like, there was not a good fit. Like, the guy's nice. He's a nice guy and everything, if you're watching. No offense.
By the way, it's been so long, we can trash everybody.
No, I'm not trashing. It's got nothing to trash. He's really successful and a really nice guy. It just wasn't a good fit for me. I didn't think the concept was funny, but Disney, where Bruce was working at the time, gave me a development deal.
Okay.
And that was I did the Tonight Show.
Was that because of the Tonight Show? Right?
Yeah, I did the Tonight Show in November, development deal right away. So that was like December. I had
before Human Cartoon?
I had my $120,000 from Disney. That's how much they gave me.
Okay.
A fortune. And after I took the taxes out and paid off my student loans and everything, I had like $5,000 left. And back on the road. Yeah. But I remember my roommate Terry, we had an apartment together. We went out to Hollywood Boulevard and went to a matinee and got ice cream.
That's what you do.
Yeah, like we had the stupidest day. No drinking. We're just like, let's go
Kings
see
of Hollywood.
we walked to Man's Chinese and saw 2 movies and had ice cream. I'll never forget.
2 movies. That's what you do when you get a development deal, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the whole afternoon on.
Yeah.
And then so they wanted to do something for that development season, which back then was in May. Yeah. So we had and they put me together with this guy, and I didn't like it. And I even walked out of the meeting thinking, that didn't work out. And my manager's like, you got to do a thing with this guy. So I was like, all right. So I did it. It was called the Drew Carey Project. And the day Reginald Denny got dragged out of his truck during the LA riots, because we were watching it on the monitors, he was giving me notes. And I was on the stage by myself. The cameras were there. And there was nobody there, just me and a bunch of cameras and mics. And I'd never been on a sitcom. And I think I said something like, I guess do it like that. I guess you know better than I do. I'm only a comic. I've only been here for doing comedy for 10 years. I guess you know funny better than I do.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's a great way to take notes. Yeah.
Easy to work with.
Yeah, no, that's the reputation.
I was just really frustrated. And then the
next
day I was gone. And I thought, I'm never going to do a sitcom again. That was my chance to have a lead in a sitcom.
Right.
And then my friend John Campanera, who's a stand-up comic, and we had the same manager the next year. So a year went by.
Okay.
And my manager was like, hey, Campanera's doing a sitcom. You want to be try for his best friend. And they were going to pay me $35,000. to do a pilot.
Nice, yeah.
And I was like, great, I could use $35,000.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I didn't care whether it got picked up or not.
Yeah, because
honestly,
you got the 35 grand in your pocket.
I needed my 35 grand, and that's how I looked at it.
Yeah, no, totally. That's
how
the way you should.
professional actors do look at it,
Yeah, that's
actually.
right. Yeah, you just move on.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll do the gig. And it got picked up, and Bruce was a consultant on the show because he worked at Disney.
I had a deal with Disney, so they were trying to lay off get me working on anything they could.
Anything to farm you out to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they aired us after the Super Bowl with John Larroquette's show.
Yeah.
And at the time, and probably still, it was the lowest rated show after the Super Bowl ever. I remember when the ratings came out, look, you just set a record for the lowest rating after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
hilarious.
and we were the second, we were after John Larroquette. So it was John Larroquette and then us.
Okay, so I blame Larroquette there.
I blame Larroquette.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, I
canceled
remember
both
my
shows.
first series. I didn't know there were 97 shows on television until the ratings came out.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, I'm 97.
You were 97?
Yeah, 97. It's pretty bad.
You get humbled, man. And
so-
there's
yeah, you get
there's
humbled.
honestly a lot of famous people that had iffy sitcom pilot experiences that ended
plenty.
up being big.
Cheers started at the bottom, and so did Family Ties. They
Yeah,
were like way at
that's
the bottom
right.
until they put
Seinfeld.
Cosby on the air.
Yeah.
They were
So
like
wait,
way
but
up.
so you were
So,
a consulting producer on there.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I met him.
I had done Roseanne.
Yeah.
And after Roseanne, then
remember
I
that.
went. I made a deal with Disney.
Yeah.
And so I was at Disney, and there was some like wonderful things that happened there. I met Sam Simon and whatever.
Yeah.
No,
Genius
Sam was
Sam
at Warner
Simon,
Bros.
yeah.
But it was. But we got to meet that way, and we
So
started.
you met at a run through, or you just like were
No, he
hanging
was
out,
just
or-
there all the time. And I would hang out with the writers, and I got along with everybody really well. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I want to know how this whole thing works. And then at the wrap party for The Good Life, which is what the show was called, at the wrap party, Bruce comes up to me and he goes, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but I got a new show, and I'm putting together a writer, and I'd love having stand-up comics on as writers, and I would like to have you be one of the writers on the show.
And also that I saw one thing you know, or you didn't know this. I've told you. I was on vacation. I saw a special called Richard Lewis Presents the Young Comedians, and Drew was
It's like a
on it.
round table.
And Drew was on it. And when I saw it, I was watching it at this hotel, and I go, that guy's going to have his own TV show. And so I was thinking, you should know how shows run and how it all works. So when you get there, you're like really
That's what I was
informed.
thinking.
Yeah.
And so I took the job, which paid. This is a lot of money talk. Sorry, but I took the job, which paid $1,500 a week for a staff writer. And I could have been on the road doing stand-up because I was on a TV show, even though it wasn't big rated or
Drive
anything.
up the price,
Just because I was on a TV show, I could have
of
been
course.
making 10, 15 grand a week doing stand-up in clubs and, even more.
But you believed in yourself enough to think I'm making an investment.
Well, I told my managers, the quote was, don't worry, this will be worth $1 million to me someday. That's exactly what I told them. I said, this is going to pay off one day.
So Drew and I are working together happily, and then I get fired.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even happily. We were working on the show.
Oh, that's
and
true. We were miserable. No, we were happy, but everything was
everything
miserable on the
that
show.
could have went wrong on a sitcom.
It was a
Why?
show for little Gabby Hoffman.
Went
She was
wrong.
12 years old.
Oh,
Who's-
yeah.
Gabby's a wonderful actor.
Yeah.
And her mom is super Andy Warhol superstar Viva.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So I had come off Roseanne, and the first draft I wrote for this show was that it was going to be an edgy show.
Yeah.
And they gave me the script back and said, this is the most dangerous script we've ever seen. It cannot air on television. Because the 12-year-old girl smoked a cigarette and stole a sip of beer out of a refrigerator. And they were like, you can't put this on TV.
Yeah, she got in trouble. Just a cigarette, and they catch the.
We ended up
bushes
doing
on
something with
fire.
Cat on Fire. So we ended up shooting it.
Ran
setup, though.
ran up the stairs. I hate you, mom. Ran up the stairs. Can't have a kid saying I hate you, mom.
You can't have, yeah. So yeah, it was
So
just,
nothing
it
funny.
was Disney before. But I mean, after all the success of Roseanne, I said, don't you realize that people want to see real?
That's right.
They don't want to see.
That's what he
the
pitched.
phony.
He pitched a shot on film, adult show, but with a kid.
No, I
But a
totally
real
get
kid,
it.
but
Yeah.
a real. I went to
family
I went,
show about
I went-
real families.
I went to. It was
Yeah.
set in St. It was set in St. Louis. I went to Missouri. I went out and interviewed all these kids, right? These 8th graders.
Yeah.
And all the way were telling me the stories about drinking drugs and how they had to grab their friends and save them from trouble and everything else. And I'm thinking, this is totally not what America thinks the kids are doing. But that's exactly what the kids are doing.
Right.
So, and by the way, they were doing it before that and
Yeah, of
years,
course.
generations
Yeah.
before. But
But they have
anyways,
illusions.
So at one point, this was the most disheartening moment for me. Warren Littlefield was the head of NBC at the time.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make this show, and Gabby comes in and she starts jumping up and down on the couch and going, wee, just kidding around.
During
And he
the
says,
run-through.
and Will Littlefield turns to me and says, "That's the show."
Does that even mean?
So-
I remember
I know.
I remember
God
going to
bless
the
him.
writers' room after that. Like, oh, we got to have her jump up and down on the couch every day, every show. We got to have a Gabby moment
and for a half hour. And we're back.
And so
we had to have her do like a soliloquy or something where
and,
we just interrupted everything.
He was a guy who was very much about wish fulfillment. He wanted every family to be happy and all that. That's his angle on it.
Yeah, okay.
And so then I got
but at
called
the same time, you told him what the show was going to be like.
That didn't mean anything. That didn't mean anything to them.
We got notes every week.
We had a spy
against.
You had a spy
against the. Every note we got was against what it originally pitched. We used to joke around that they're going to fire Bruce and get the guys from Boy Meets World to come over and run the show.
Then one day I get a call from
exactly what happened.
I get a call one day. I get a call from the VP of development and saying, "Why did you talk badly about me in the room? I heard you call me a so and so." I go, "Who told you that?" We had a guy, somebody in the room they had hired. Was feeding.
They wanted to. These guys wanted to. They were like at the low level writers, and they thought they could get a bump and get promoted or have their own show one day if they got in with the
best thing that ever happened to me.
But there was like those two writers. Once we found out, it was those two writers, empty seats, every other writer sitting shoulder to shoulder in a windowless fucking room. But the windows were
I heard it was pretty terrible.
And everybody looking down at their script, like, how about this pitch? How about this pitch? Nobody was looking up. Nobody could look everybody in the eye. And we would just like side eye everybody, like, let's just get through the day. One time I ordered a pizza and I had a big thing of Tums because my stomach was always upset. And I remember shaking the Tums over the pizza as a joke. Just like, get me the F out of here.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
I left early.
It literally sounds like hell.
I left early, but then I got to work with Bruce on that. And then the people on the show that I met, the writers, they liked me and they were like, you should have your own show anyway. It's great that you're learning all this, but you should have your own show someday. And I started thinking to myself, like, how could I do a show
the situation?
And I already knew everything that could go wrong.
Right.
And I met with a couple of showrunners. They were fine. And I met Bruce and I said, I have this idea for a show. And he goes, oh, you should do this, this, and this. And we hit it off and we'd already known each other for all that time.
Right,
so I said, well, let's develop a show.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
The way
there was that whole thing that we went through war together.
Yeah, it was the way I ended up at WB is when I was fired. There was a writer that Ellen was at Disney or whatever, but Ellen needed a writer who was at Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And I was under contract to Disney.
Okay.
And they said, "What do you feel about a trade?" And I get a call from Les Moonves.
Yeah.
And Les Moonves, how would you feel if I brought you over to Warner Brothers and we sent a writer to Disney? I said, "I'm in Saigon on the roof and you got a helicopter." That's how much I want to.
Yes.
So,
they traded him.
They traded me.
That's how we ended up at Warner Brothers.
And I went up at Warner Brothers, and Drew and I got together, and we were like, bang.
So tell me about the original concept for the show. When you guys were like originally hashing it out, like, was it based on your life, Drew, or was it based on?
Living in Cleveland.
I was thinking to myself, like, what would happen to me if I never did stand up?
You'd never done stand up,
right?
I would end up I was working as a waiter and stuff, and I was like, I'd either be a restaurant manager or something, or I'd get a job in retail and end up as a middle manager somewhere.
And
I didn't have a degree or anything.
My mom worked at Marshall Fields in Chicago, so I knew a little bit about department stores.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And so,
that's the way we put it in a department store.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. And then we figured, what would be the one job in a department store where you can't win? HR.
HR.
Yeah, and then Bruce said, "Oh, you have to have a female character," because originally I was just me and my two stupid friends.
Yeah,
and Bruce is like, "No, you got to get a female character in there. They'll never buy the show."
Yeah,
I remember that. I was like, "Oh yeah."
And then Christa. Christa had just done Seinfeld, and nobody wanted to hire her because she'd only done like one thing.
Right.
And
one episode.
And I said, get me the footage on the episodes. And I showed it to everybody. He goes, look, she's really good, and she's kind of a tomboy. And and then when she came in, she really fit with you guys. Was very comfortable. She was very much,
Yeah.
But
that was.
So the concept was like your life, but also a guy who could never win in middle management.
Yeah, Bruce would call me in the initial meetings. Drew called me a happy sack.
That was Sam Simon who named that.
Oh, Sam Simon.
Sam Simon came up with that. I came up with.
Well, you said it in the meeting.
When they went right before the decision was made to put the show on the air.
Yeah.
I get a call from Stu Bloomberg, who was the head of comedy at ABC.
He was great. He was a big champion of the show.
Stu was fantastic.
He said, give me one sentence that'll sell the show. I said, Drew is a guy who loses all day long. At the end of the day, he celebrates his really small victory of shit. And he goes, got it. And he took it in, and they picked up the show.
Wow.
Yeah, happy sack. And then later on, when I took that acting acting seminar thing where you found out your essences and all that stuff, I was a happy sack. That's how they described me pretty much as a guy. Like one of my essences was, whitewashing the fence with those guys was really fun. So I took this acting thing where they come up with like phrases that describe you, and no matter what you play, you can use these in yourself.
It's basically how you perceive yourself.
I do the best how other people perceive you. I do the best things you don't see about yourself, which is why it's a help. Yeah. I do the best I can with what I got. Excuse me, I'm looking for the exit. Whitewashing the fence with those guys is really fun. Yeah. Fame has a price, but I get a discount because I'm famous. That's another one of mine. And then I also have a strong sense of duty and a strong sense of privilege.
Right.
So if I see a part that has, that guy has a strong sense of duty, let me just come in here with a strong sense of duty, and I'm going to add into it, whitewashing the fence with those guys was really fun. Or if it's a breakup scene, and I'm going to come in it with strong sense of privilege and, excuse me, I'm looking for the exit. That colors everything you say and how you say it. And it doesn't look like you're acting. Because it's all coming from things that are really about you.
Right.
And that's what I learned in the thing. But when I saw whitewashing the fence was really fun, I go, I'm a happy sack.
Happy sack.
Yeah.
And so the idea was setting in Cleveland because you're from Cleveland.
Right. Yeah.
And the show was so specific.
I wanted it to be from Cleveland.
Yeah.
I had a big chip on my shoulder about shows.
Because you're from Cleveland.
Yes. And then in general, because they always did, it was New York or LA, and if they wanted a show in the Midwest, they would pick Chicago.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, what the They got to have other cities.
Yeah, of course.
There's Kansas City, there's Cleveland, there's every other city.
It's February. Drew says you got to come to Cleveland so you can learn it. And
this is great.
And I said, I grew up in Chicago, and I know what it looks like Cleveland's like in February. Thank you very much.
So Bruce doesn't fly, so we were going to drive to Cleveland, and it was in February, and we were going to drive to Cleveland, and Warner Brothers didn't want to pay us for the trip and pay for our rooms and stuff.
For research.
And Bruce is like, what the hell do you think we're going to do? We're not going to the Bahamas.
I know, right? Also, we're driving.
And we're going to Cleveland.
Driving to Cleveland in February.
What kind of price are we talking about?
Yeah. Pay for our rental car.
It's almost as cheap as
But a lot of stuff came out. A lot of stuff came out of that trip. We went to a bunch of bars.
Moon over Parma?
We went over Parma.
The guy sang Moon over Parma.
The Moon over Parma thing. Where did that come?
We were at a bar, and there was a guy there, and he sang Moon over Parma. He wrote it. He had a little act. It was him and another guy.
Yeah, and it's a joke song about living in Ohio.
We were listening to it. We were
so
just
Cleveland environs.
Laughing. I started laughing my ass off. That's like the funniest song. And then we went to a bar that had a piano behind that was unused. It was behind the bar, just sitting there unused. We had that in the Warsaw.
The outside of the Warsaw.
And we saw the bar in my neighborhood by the McDonald's where I first had my first job. So a bike ride away from where I grew up. There's a bar. It's at Memphis and Fulton. And never set foot in the bar, but we liked the outside because it was like a house converted into a bar.
That was the stock shot of the
That was the stock shot.
That was the stock shot that we used for the Warsaw.
When we heard the guy sing a song, Drew goes up to him afterwards and says, "We're going to buy that song and use it for our television show." He goes like, "Sure, pal."
Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
He didn't believe it. What was it? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, they came out with sheet music for it and everything. He got a little.
Yeah. And then the animation.
Are you kidding me? It was huge.
Then, if you remember, originally we had the animated face with Drew, and that was done by one of the guys from The Simpsons. Sam Simon helped us to get one of the Simpsons animators to do that, the thing with Drew singing.
I remember thinking,
did he put in the penis nose on purpose?
I have no idea.
I remember thinking how cool that was, that animated. I remember you showed me, like, before we aired or anything, you were like, this is what the title
that was Sam's area of expertise. He helped us out with that.
It was really cool because, it was nerdy cool. It wasn't like we're super hip. It was like,
right.
It was, I really liked that. All right, so you guys decided that was like the theme of the show. And then what happened? You pitched that, Stu Bloomberg was like, it's a go.
We actually got an offer. So I remember this too. We got an offer from the WB at the time.
I think so.
It was in the WB and the CW were two different things.
They were existing.
I think it was a CW.
So it was the WB, Bruce. I remember we were walking down Main Street on the lot here.
Yeah.
And walking to somewhere, and Bruce was like, "Hey, we got an offer from the WB for like 13 on the air or 22 on the air or something like that. That they were just going to
we'd rather take our chance with ABC.
No pilot, just like, hey, we'll just pay you to just come on the air here and we'll guarantee all these episodes.
That's tough to turn down.
And Bruce argued that, not argued, but he said,
posited?
Yes, that he goes, we're going to work just as hard no matter where we're at.
Sure.
So why not try to go to ABC and we'll make more money.
Yeah.
And get more viewership.
And everything. So if we're work just as hard either way.
Yeah, that's right. Same amount of work.
I remember just shrugging my shoulders and go, yeah, you're right. Let's go to ABC. That's how a lot of our decisions were made. Is one of us would say, how about this? And the other person would go, oh, yeah, that's right. And that's all there was to it.
Wow, that's so lucky.
Well, when we shot
just really lucky.
When we shot the pilot, a couple things happened. When we shot the pilot, I was noticing, I don't know if you remember, we ended up working on the weekend. We weren't going to.
Yeah, I remember.
And I said to Drew, and then I told all you guys, I said, you guys are all looking at each other and being very funny. You know that. Yeah. I said, but you're not laughing at each other.
Yeah.
Why? And everybody was like, well, I'm going to act. I said, no, if you think someone's funny, if you laugh at them, that's because it's a real thing. It's a real, and no one was looking at each other. Everybody was like that. Yeah. And then everybody started, and then right after that one rehearsal where everybody just let go of the last
we had to come in on a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
I remember.
But everybody,
I actually remember that exact moment.
And the director was really on top of that. And then you guys and then when I saw that, I said, we're in great shape. The night of the taping, everything was going really good, but the last scene wouldn't land.
Yeah.
It just wasn't ending the show properly.
Yeah.
So Eric Gilliland, rest his soul, who I had met
Eric
on,
Gilliland.
yeah, me too. And Eric was on Roseanne with me, and Eric had an idea for the last scene in the show, which was to come in and have Kate come in and everybody sniff her because she was working in the perfume department. And I said, that's fantastic. We shot it like at 2 a.m. or whatever it was.
I remember that.
And then when the show went to Warner Brothers, they had a day where they aired all of the pilots.
Yeah.
And I get a call from Stu.
Can you imagine being an executive and sitting through that?
Well,
by the way,
no.
And have to decide.
In those days, they made a lot of them.
Yeah, and have to decide
right.
like a 6-hour day of 6 hours of watching pilot after pilot after pilot or something, like interminable.
Yes.
Really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I know a 6-hour day doesn't seem that bad, but like watching pilot after pilot.
You have to also
like,
enjoy
okay,
it.
this one,
Enjoy it at the same level.
And you're watching in a room you're not watching to enjoy them.
Yeah, right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, of course. You're
so
criticizing.
I don't know if we were together at the time when they called us, when Stu called.
Yeah.
He said, we just saw the pilot, and woe be to anybody whose pilot we have to see after yours.
Wow, what a nice thing to say.
Yeah, he told me that.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay, thank you. And when you looked at it, Drew was, for a guy who had really not done much of that stuff, except for a little bit of what you call Drew was like a total lead, which is it's a big chore to have to drive the story all the time.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
When we were shooting the pilot, because it was, I think it was my 7th pilot. So I had done a bunch before. I had never gotten a note where friends were supposed to like each other. And that was an incredibly powerful insight of yours. And I remember that exact moment because then we had I was able to look at Ryan, who, as we were saying, like, it's total genius. And Oswald could find him funny. Like, who wouldn't find Ryan Stiles funny? He's really funny. And friends like each other. friends like each other.
I also sometimes was not great with actors. Whenever I wanted you guys to speed things up, I just go.
I know that was his number one note. Like, and we're like, I didn't even know what that means.
Go faster.
And the second thing was
that was a clue in the crusher puzzle today.
Really?
Zhuzh it up.
Oh,
yeah,
zhuzh it up. The other thing that was really fascinating was when Mimi, who was going to be a guest star on the show, and Drew had a scene in the pilot. That was the only scene I think I watched on the monitor. And I'd seen Drew in like previews, and I had seen the stand-up, I had seen the Johnny Carson. But I didn't really see you, even when I was rehearsing with you. Like, I didn't get it. You seemed like a really nice guy, and you had your own show. It was my 2nd pilot of the year, so I was happy. Like, again, it's like I was
getting that money, man.
Get that money. And so I booked 2 pilots. Amazing. I saw you on television. And I was like, oh, you care about this guy. And that's the one thing.
It was also a great scene. The interview scene was a great scene.
One of the funniest scenes. He's ripping the things. It's really hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's also like you instantly care about someone. That's something that you can't teach. You either have it or you don't. And I didn't get it because when I was deeply ambivalent about Drew before he was on camera. But on camera, I got it. Like, he's that guy that life is just going to shit on. And you just hope for the best.
Do you remember
it works out for that guy?
In The Good Life, my first scene that we filmed on The Good Life, I was by myself. I had to do something where I was I was in the scene opened the scene by myself. And I'd never done a TV show before. I'd only done stand-up. And I told everyone, I said, don't worry, I played Frederick in Pirates of Penzance when I was in 9th grade. Like I've had some acting experience.
Yes, please. Back off.
Are those original glasses?
Yes.
When I first started doing stand-up, I had my BCGs from the Marine Corps. So the Marines gave me a pair of glasses when I was in the reserves, and I kept them. And the Marines called them BCGs, which stands for birth control glasses. I don't know the official name. They're just glasses, but everybody called them BCGs.
Yeah.
And probably still do. And then they started to fall apart, and the screws and stuff. So I bought a couple frames that I got at a Goodwill for like $10 that looked pretty much the same. And I used those. And when I got the show, the prop department wanted to make me an official pair of glasses for the show.
That makes sense.
And I think they paid like $1,000 for custom-made frames because they had to like take them and mold them and make an exact copy and make them
in gold.
Yeah, so they made like $1,000 pair of like exact glasses just for me on the show. My VCGs.
Yeah, I remember.
I want to just go back because you brought up Christa a little bit and how she was on, Seinfeld, and that you guys were like saw that tape and everything was cool. Tell me about the rest of the casting process because you also had Ryan Stiles. Now, what was that like? What was going on with that?
Drew had seen Ryan in another movie, Coneheads.
No, I didn't know Ryan.
Oh, I thought you'd seen him in something.
No, I was in Coneheads.
Oh, okay.
So you saw you and
I was man in cab.
Man in a cab.
I had 4 lines.
Yeah.
Ryan was just funny.
Also,
really
Ellen
good.
DeGeneres was in Coneheads. She was I was man in cab, and she was girls gym coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man in Cab. Brought to you by Buzz Beer.
We each had like 4 lines in the
All right. So Ryan just came in and he was really funny, and you guys were like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know honestly.
Oh, wait.
I didn't know he
I
was.
just
I don't know
remembered
if I don't know if he was going to get it or the other guy was going to get it.
Leland?
Yeah, and
Leland.
Yeah,
Leland, I saw at the gym
he's
over and
great.
up for like years. And he did one thing. He was supposed to play the trumpet or something. Not play the trumpet, but had a line about the trumpet.
And he blew it.
He blew it. And
As it were.
And I kept seeing him at the gym, and I would like wave to him. Show's going great, and then he's got.
Yeah, he was in Saving Private Ryan. He's had
He's a great actor.
a really good actor.
Yeah, he's a lovely actor.
Yeah, like I said, you never know, man. It was just that one bad.
He had one bad day.
So when you're auditioning people for the show, you come read for in general, and then they narrow it down. Then you read for the studio, and then they pick 2 people to go read for the network.
Yeah.
It's always one or the other. And you have to bring 2 to the network to give them a choice. You can't just say this is the guy and tell the network that. You have to bring at least 2
somebody
people.
else,
to-
Due diligence.
Yeah.
Right. So there was another guy. I don't know if you remember. I can't remember his name. Again, I'm not trashing anybody. Everybody's either you're right or you're wrong. But we wanted you.
Clooney.
Oh, nice.
And
George Clooney.
yeah, we wanted you. And I didn't. Again, I was totally new. And we went to the room. You guys did your thing. And I was sitting there, and Bruce was talking to Les Moonves up there. And so we'll have Diedrich Bader and Joe Blow, whatever the other guy's name is, go to the network. And I was like, I didn't know about all the having to bring 2 or bring, and I think I stood up or something, and I said, Mr. Moonves, I don't really think I want that guy to get that part.
Wow.
And Les was on his way out the door, and he turned around and he pointed his finger and he goes, "Don't worry, he won't."
So they stacked the deck.
Well,
They
those
always-
are the last. It was you and him anyway.
Yeah,
But you
and
couldn't
you were
pick-
better, so we'll just bring those 2, and Dietrich will get it.
There was
Right,
always
that
a
was it.
shill, but you couldn't bring a really bad shill because then you look bad for making that shill.
Right,
So it'd be
exactly,
somebody
make
who
it
was
too obvious.
viable but
Yeah.
not good enough.
Well, he
Right.
made it all the way
That's
to the.
interesting.
He made it all the way to the
Yeah.
studio read.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't like he was terrible.
Right.
It just wasn't.
He
we
just
liked
wasn't
you-
right.
We liked you better.
Yeah.
you know
that
why you
happens
were
all the
named
time.
Oswald?
Yeah, why was that named?
Because originally Drew wanted Patton Oswalt to play the role, but Patton
No.
didn't.
I did?
But, yeah, he wanted Patton Oswalt to be the person, but
Hi, Patton.
yeah, but Patton wasn't really of acting caliber then. He now obviously, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't. He wasn't. He didn't have the chops to do
What?
that then.
You didn't need
know that?
another
Oh, yeah.
stand-up on a stand-up show. You needed actors to fill out the
Well,
cast.
as far as
So
I
wait, tell me
as
about-
far as I
okay.
remember,
Yeah.
your name is Oswald Lee Harvey.
Oswald,
Oh, yeah, that was we changed. Yeah, we added that to
That was later.
because I wanted it to be named. That was my joke about naming him Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
But I thought,
I think we got it. I think we followed that.
let's give him this name. That was just
Yeah, no, that was your idea. I
me
remember.
being an a-hole.
Kevin Pollak was the voice, right, of
Yeah.
the boss.
We couldn't afford to have him on screen.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Couldn't
it was just
afford
a
to have him on
voiceover.
screen. So he agreed to. I
always wondered about that.
I worked with him on something, and he agreed. He said, "I'll do the." I think I suddenly Susan or something. I worked with him on, and he said, "I'll do the voice for you," but they couldn't afford to put him on.
So that's why the first year of the show, people may not remember, there was just a speaker. That
He was
Drew
named Mr.
spoke.
Bell for Alexander
Mr.
Graham.
Bell, that's
after,
right.
After Alexander Graham Bell.
That's nice.
Because he was only on the phone.
Okay, so now here's the thing that blows everybody's mind.
We're geniuses.
Mimi, yeah, that's right. Portrait of Genius.
Lee Harvey Oswald, Alexander Graham Bell.
where do we get these ideas? I don't know. Couldn't pay people to come up
Glad
with
I
it.
wasn't called Adolf.
Literally.
Anyway,
Man, oh man.
so there was a guest star on the Drew Carey Show pilot.
Right.
A woman applying for a job, right? Or that she had a job and
She was applying for. She wanted to work in the makeup department.
She wanted to
and
work
it
in the
was
makeup
Kathy.
department.
It was Mimi.
was
And
Mimi.
originally we were going to give the role to Mimi. I had worked with Mimi Kennedy on another show.
Okay.
Who I thought was wonderful. And
Yeah.
I said, "We want you to do this." And she said, "I can't do another comedy. I've got to do something serious. I really need not to do a comedy right now. A sitcom."
Oh, I bet you had some regrets about that.
I don't think she ever did, but
Okay.
maybe she did. But anyway, so the character was named Mimi.
Yeah.
And then, and so we had to cast for it. And then we saw a gazillion people. It's a very tough role to cast.
Yes.
Because she was a mean person, but you wanted to feel some sympathy for her.
And
Right.
you had to be able to insult her and not have it be cruel. Somebody had to be
Punch
somebody
you down to use with
Had-
the
somebody tough
parlance
enough
that they
and-
use.
Yeah, we couldn't.
A strong enough sense of self.
We had to
Yes,
be
right.
like punching vertically.
That's right.
Right.
And not punching
Not
down.
punching
We're
down.
not,
Right, exactly.
And somebody that could take it and give it back.
Yeah.
We immediately hire a person who's a stall. Anyway, no, we didn't. It was an accident.
Yeah.
So we were casting, and
Yeah.
we had someone at table.
Yeah.
And the network said she's terrible. That was the actress we cast, and they said we
I
don't.
don't think
like
she was
her at all.
terrible, but it came out she was really small in stature.
She was
and stuff,
diminutive,
and
and it made-
it looked bad.
Yeah.
Like she's not a terrible person or a terrible actress. I just want to say, but just
No,
it's just that it
didn't
looked
work.
like I was picking on her.
Yeah, so that's right.
And she was
And you're the
defenseless.
hero. You can't be picking on anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't saving the cat. I was beating up the cat.
Yes, you're beating up the cat.
So in the middle of like we're in run through now, we're in rehearsal. I have to run back to the casting department.
Yeah.
And they bring me a whole bunch of people, one of whom is Kathy Kinney.
Right.
And I'm rushing back to the stage. I said the third one for sure. Send her down to the stage. I go down to the stage for the run through, and there's this person. I don't even remember even seeing her audition. They picked the wrong person. They took third from the last or whatever. They got the wrong number, and so she's down there. And Michael Lesak goes to me, and what?
Michael Lessig was the
director.
The director. So we're in the cubicles, right? And he's figuring out how to shoot around the cubicles for one thing.
Yeah, complicated.
Like, yeah, because you have to shoot over the walls.
Everybody told us you can't do a show with cubicles, and we said, really? Okay, we'll see what.
But anyway, he's trying to figure out how to shoot around the cubicles. Maybe they're too high, maybe too low. So we're doing the scene with me and Mimi.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what? I'm having a little trouble with these camera angles. This is the first, not the first time I heard this. So we got a sound problem bullshit from a director.
Yeah.
But he goes, we got a little trouble with the things. Why don't we take a 10-minute break? Take a little break. We'll try to figure this out. And he looks at me and he looks at me and he goes,
We have the wrong Mimi.
So we had to
Buzz
say-
Beer by Buzz Beer.
So we had to pay that very nice actress, and she
Yeah.
went home.
Yeah.
And Kathy Kinney came back.
like that day,
yeah.
that afternoon.
And Kathy Kinney came back.
Shows up.
And
it was
Kathy-
like the wild. I
and
remember
Kathy
going,
was-
we're gonna these patent things. We're gonna. We got that wrong.
So and Kathy was just like amazing, obviously, as everybody remembers.
Oh my
it.
God,
And
so
one of the funniest scenes ever when he says, "You don't have to be classically beautiful." She goes, "I'm not classically beautiful." And it was about her makeup. That was
Yeah.
what we were making
Right.
a thing about the makeup, and then Drew doesn't hire her, and then she ends up getting a job from the company anyways, being his boss's assistant.
Right.
So it became that's how we made it.
But was that plot line in the pilot?
No, because she met him at the bar later on
Yeah.
and called him a pig and a doughboy and
Right.
everything else.
Because
And
I thought it was just a guest star spot in the pilot.
Right. Yeah. And then we talked about it. It was like, how do you not take advantage of that? You've got a nemesis,
Dynamic,
and how do you
yeah,
not take
right.
advantage of that dynamic?
Yeah, I think it was going to be a guest star spot for like a hot second. But
Yeah.
once we,
And everybody just loved you guys together.
Figured it out.
So yeah.
it all worked out.
Yeah.
It sure did. Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, but
You think?
but Kathy Kinney could take it.
Right.
and dish it out.
Oh yeah, and
So you never felt like I was picking on her. I was half defending myself the whole time.
Yeah.
And he would say things to her like, "Why don't you turn that frown upside down? Jump out the window." He could say terrible things, but always
blew her
fair.
head
Always
up one
fair.
day.
And then she,
One show.
but she was merciless in her eviscerating of him.
Yeah,
but he was,
I love a long setup to a joke, and one of my favorite jokes of Mimi, which is just a dumb joke, but it had to be preceded by a ton of other great insults in order for it to pay off. Because it looks like she's trying to think of a great comeback, and then she just goes, "You're fat." That was it. Not even worth thinking about.
Check.
Yeah, no, it was. There were so many good things, and the hatred evolved. We did the Rube Goldberg thing where we had Drew had set up this really elaborate thing throughout the office, and no one knew what it was going to do. And Mimi's looking. It was one of those things where you start a train, then it knocks over a ball, and the ball rolls down a hill, and then it stops something else, something pops over here, and all that. So finally it dumps a can of paint on Mimi's head, and it was just like, it was so wonderful to watch. And it was shot beautifully. It didn't really actually work as a Rube Goldberg. We had to shoot in pieces because it wouldn't really work.
Oh yeah. The Drew and Mimi relationship really defined the show comedically in a way.
Well, that and the friendship.
Were
the two things that really were that show was about.
But I think what was so unique was the Drew and Mimi, where the friendship I thought was really good, but other shows shared that sort of dynamic. But the Mimi and Drew thing, that was completely unique.
It's also very hard to have a show that's got a home life and a work life.
Yes,
usually one suffers, and it didn't work that way with the show.
No, it was perfect.
That was also
balance.
another reason that we gave Kate a job at the store, so that stories from the store or from home could come into the other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
People still ask me, how's Mimi?
Right.
All the time. When I talk to the crowd at Price is Right, you keep in touch with Mimi.
Right.
How's Mimi doing? I get tons of questions about Mimi.
I got asked this morning. We were moving something. We had some movers. And they were like, "Hey, how's Mimi?" I was like, it's been 21 years.
So we had a scene at the end of the pilot where Drew plays pool by himself in the rain.
Yeah. Right.
So he had a rain thing, and I'm out there playing pool, and you guys were all staring out the window like that poor son of a bitch, wherever he said. Yeah. And I remember we got an angry email from a company that made outdoor pool tables.
Okay.
Like, I can't believe you're making fun of outdoor pool tables. We're a little mom and pop shop.
You can't please other people.
This is our family
we
business.
Probably made their business. We probably everybody.
This is our family business. And you're trashing out. And I was like, man, that wasn't our intent.
Right.
Really sorry.
But also, you're having a good time.
We didn't use an outdoor pool table.
Yeah,
we made it's stupid to play pool outside.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but just in the pilot.
I did a pilot with George Clooney and a bunch of people called Knights of the Kitchen Table, and I put and to make everybody enjoy themselves on the stage, I put a pool table on the stage, not on the set. And when everybody was just there and all the actors were talking and hanging out, I thought, having a pool table around is cool for the actors if they got time to blow and all that. Yeah. And then we didn't want to put a pool table in the house, but outside just seemed like such a great idea that Drew would just take this pool. The idea was his mother never allowed it in the house, and the father said, "Fine, I'll put the pool table in the yard."
Did we ever have a line about that?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did? I don't remember
that. What was the name of the actor who played your father?
Stanley?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Stanley, yeah.
So and we put a thing in there about that's how the pool table ended up outside. Because Drew bought his parents' house.
Right.
He took over his parents' house.
Right.
Now, I do own my mom's house in Cleveland.
Right. So we shoot the pilot. That night went really late. We went till
very late. And the word on the street was we're dead.
Yeah, right. Because we went so late, or that was just the general.
Everybody just because they thought because we had to reshoot stuff. Everybody's like, oh, not good, bad sign.
We reshot stuff all the time. Though.
So everybody was telling us that the word on the street was the show was dead.
Okay, so a couple weeks later, you're still hearing it's dead.
Yeah, until we get a call from Stu.
Wow.
Oh, when we had pitched the pilot, we were supposed to know by 6 o'clock on this one Friday if we were going to even make a pilot.
Oh, okay.
And I remember looking at the clock, and it got to be 5:55, 6 o'clock, no call. 6:15, no call, and I guess I guess that's it. And then 6:30, Bruce called me, hey, they picked up the pilot. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Like I thought 6 was like a hard deadline.
Yeah. No,
and
there's
then,
no hard deadline.
We took nothing for granted.
Yeah.
Pilot barely got picked up, and then the first season barely got picked up.
Yeah,
I mean, if it wasn't for Stu and a couple other people fighting for us, I don't know if we would have.
Ted Harbert, too, I think.
Ted, yeah. Well, the dance number made a huge difference. Well, that was after they picked us up, though. But they picked the show up. Les Moonves used to always tell me, he said, be wonderful to the network and be wonderful to your studio because you'll always be on the margin. And you're going to need that goodwill to get over. Because some shows are hits automatically, but not, especially not shows about friends. Shows about families can be more easily a hit automatically because the dynamics are a given.
Yeah, right.
But everybody wanted to know. Like it was a big thing in the focus groups. Where do Drew's friends live? Why don't they have their own place? And things like that. People are they just mooches taking advantage of them? So like things like that come up.
Well, if you're a mooch taking advantage of Drew Carey on the Drew Carey Show, good luck.
Isn't a hell of a lot there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's really,
Wells run dry.
So when it came down to we were on the bubble, and then they picked us up for another season.
So yeah. Oh, sorry.
I heard Dulcie and I, now my wife, then my girlfriend, went to Scotland, and I was on the side of a lock in one of those red phone boxes. I heard my agent had to shout it because I didn't have a cell phone or anything, and I was supposed to call at a certain time, and that was the only phone that I could find. So I heard on the side of this Loch Torridon. And I ran across the fields past some Highland cows, and I shouted up to the hotel. We were on the top window because I couldn't afford anything, but I was cheap anyway. I shouted up, "We got picked up, and we're after Ellen."
Yeah, it was big news.
Time slots used to mean something. Yeah. So I heard a rumor.
Yeah, you did, huh?
That there was a different name for the show at one point.
I don't remember any different name with the Drew Carey Show.
ABC wanted to call it the Regular Guys.
The regular guys?
The regular guys.
So I was in an acting class at the time.
Okay.
That I would go to regularly.
Yeah.
And I told everybody in my acting class I got a pilot.
Yeah.
And like, wow, what are you going to call it? And I went, the Drew Carey Show. What do you think I'm going to call it? That's exactly what I said. I said, I'm going to call it the Drew Carey Show. What do you think I'm going to call it?
Yeah.
And because of Roseanne fighting so much with ABC, they made a policy that nobody was allowed to name the show after themselves anymore.
Oh wow!
Because it made them too powerful. So when we got to the show, and when the show was picked up, for a series, they said, "What's the show going to be called?" I said, "The Drew F. Carey Show." And they said, "What does the S stand for?" Drew f***ing Carey over here.
Well, this was really cool. I hope you guys had a good time. It was really fun for me. I think you guys might have had a good time. I'm hoping.
It was great. Yeah.
It was fun to talk. We'd love to do some more. If you smash those likes, you watch it a ton of times, we'll come back and we'll talk more about the show. We'll really get into the nitty gritty. And remember, buy Buzz Beer.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Buzz Beer.